So guys, today we have another big video, this time going over the exotic armor changes coming in the final shape, as well as breaking down this week's weird article, which gives us a huge breakdown of the brand new Pathfinder system, which will be replacing ritual bounties, but will also be taking place in the Pale Heart location. So a lot of info to get through here in this video. So as always, if you enjoy, find it helpful, be sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button, as over 90% of you who watch my content aren't actually subscribed. So if you do that, I'd very much appreciate it. And with that being said, let's first jump into those exotic armor changes. First up, subclass matching prismatic and you. Our existing armor and mods were originally released in a world where each subclass was only ever a single element. Since that will no longer be true with the release of the final shape, we've taken a pass through our existing gear. For the most part, this meant updating exotic armor and armor mods to reference a player's equipment super element instead of a specific subclass. Allows their effects to function on Prismatic without changing their behavior on the original subclass. For example, Titan Exotic Hoarfrost Z will require just a Stasis Super to be equipped, rather than a full Stasis subclass. We've also taken the opportunity to update the description of Harmonic mods to better explain their behavior and to fully support the Strand on Resistance mods. However, in a few places we wanted to make more meaningful changes. We've detailed them below, starting with Hunter, Triton's Vice. Glaive projectile final blows now always trigger a detonation that matches the glaive's damage type, even when the glaive does not match the equipped subclass. The rounded effect provided by Triton's Vice while wielding a glaive now lingers on the player for 5 seconds after no longer being surrounded. Dragon's Shadow has been updated to trigger its effect when using Ensnaring Slam or the new Ascension Arc aspect, opening up more build crafting combinations. Bow Tracer now grants the bonus damage it inflicts on a target to weapons. The damage type also matches that of the ability used to damage that target, instead of always matching your equipped subclass. With Prismatic, you can apply a variety of different damage elements with your abilities, and this change allows Foe Tracer to buff multiple different weapon damage types, instead of just one that matches your subclass or super element. We wanted to add an additional benefit to 6 Coyote along with Armamentarium for Titans, since otherwise the Spirit of Coyote perk on the new exotic class item would have been granted the same benefit as an original exotic. We took inspiration from Claws of Ahamkara and added the ability to the 6 Coyote to create orbs of power from final blows after using your class ability. This is implemented as an exotic, granting it a free copy of the Reaper Armor mod's effect. Renewal Grasps. On entering your dust-filled grenade volume, you and your allies gain a stack of frost armor. We saw this in yesterday's article. Above about every 0.9 seconds, an additional stack of frost armor is granted, resetting your timer. Star Eater Scales increased the orbs of power required to grant maximum benefits from 4 to 6, reduced the increased super energy gain per orb when the golden gun is equipped from 2 down to 0.5. Interesting change there. Titans, Ursa Furiosa now provides increased movement speed while guarding with Unbreakable, and also grants super energy for guarding with Unbreakable. This energy scales based on the amount of incoming damage the shield absorbs. Unbreakable being the new Void aspect, where you can consume your grenade to create a shield. So good change there. Eternal Warrior no longer requires an arc subclass for arc final blows to grant its escalating arc weapon damage bonus. Allows it to synergize with Prismatic. Like the 6 Coyote above, Armamentarium was updated with an additional benefit. This implemented the Firepower Armor mod effects for free, which is cool. Kepri's Horn increased the damage from the Solar Blast by 100% in PvE. Solar Blast now scorches each time it hits a target, instead of scorching only once. Kepri's Horn now benefits from Ember of Eruption and Ember of Ashes, plus 30 Scorch in PvE and plus 15 in PvP. Okay, Heart of Inmost Light. Buffs in the HUD could easily crowd out other important information. We felt that it could be less verbose in its HUD feedback, so now it displays a single consolidated status effect icon on the HUD to communicate its state. Instead of 2 to 3, it used 4, so just updating the HUD there for Heart of Inmost Light. Symphoceps reduce the amount of time that bionic enhancement lingers after no longer being surrounded from 8 to 5 seconds. This duration is now visible as a timer on the buff. Severance Enclosure, its explosions now require line of sight to damage enemies. We also reduced the knockback intensity of these explosions, which will now launch enemies more consistently vertically. Finally, Warlock's Mantle of Battle Harmony now grants super energy ranging between 1.5% and 4.5% depending on the target type killed, removed the 2-second cooldown from the perk's activation as well. Palador's Wrath Weavers, activating your Rift grants you and nearby enemies Frost Armor stacks when Frost Pulse is equipped. Activating your Winter's Wrath Shatter attacks grants nearby allies the maximum amount of stacks of Frost Armor. When your Winter's Wrath ends, you gain maximum stacks of Frost Armor as well. Decant Filaments, empowering rifts will now reset a player's existing Devour duration buff back to 11 seconds when they enter it, in addition to its previous behavior. Verity's Brow now requires final blows with a matching grenade damage type instead of one matching your equipped subclass, so this can better pair with Prismatic. Gun Braces reduce the increased solar grenade duration from 4 to 2 seconds, reduce its increased grenade recharge rate to allow a maximum of 4 grenades while the effect is active instead of 5. Knew this change was coming, so sorry all you solar warlocks. Cenotaph Mask. Multiple players using Cenotaph Mask can no longer trigger its effect using a single enemy target, and Cenotaph's target lock visual marker is now hidden from the exotic's wearer and only appears to the wearer's allies. Okay. Powered melee and armor effects. The term powered melee was always intended to mean spending a melee charge, however, subclass elements like combination blow or knockout would allow players to circumvent this cost. This makes it difficult to balance the potency of effects that require a powered melee. We want to standardize this, especially across all classes and subclasses. We want to standardize this better across the sandbox, and we are starting by updating Severance Enclosure and Assassin's Cowl to only trigger this effect when players spend a melee charge or use a finisher to get a final blow. We plan on rolling this type of change out to more content that triggers powered melee in the future. Exotic Artifice upgrades. Exotic armor can now be upgraded after it has been fully masterworked, granting an Artifice mod slot. Comes at the cost of 1 Exotic Cipher and 10,000 Glimmer. Good change there. Armor Finder update. In our live game now, heavy and special armor finders mods reset their progress towards an ammo brick whenever you die. This leads to players receiving less ammo in harder difficulty activities, especially if they are playing right on the edge of their skill level. In fact, if you were unlucky enough with the timing of your character dying, it was possible to never get any finder ammo bricks at all. In the final shape, we wanted to make ammo finders more predictable for all players across all activities. So heavy and special ammo finder armor mods will persist their progress towards an ammo brick through death. This means you will always get a finder brick if you defeat enough enemies, regardless of how many times you die along the way. Because of this change, we have disabled ammo finder mods in Crucible, and they have also increased the kill requirement for both special and heavy ammo finders for Guardians in a fire team. Solo Guardians, however, have no one to resurrect them when they are defeated, so we have left their kill requirements unchanged. Raid armor mods. In the final shape, we are making it much easier to layer these extra elements into your loadouts as you go for the perfect weapon roll, removing all mod energy costs from raid specific armor mods. And with the exotic changes out the way, let's jump into this week's TWID. First up, they talk about the Vidoc that was released today, as well as a reminder that the second part is actually coming out tomorrow. So good stuff to keep up there. The finale cutscene for Season of the Wish is now out. I've made a separate video on this, but it's a very good cutscene, so I'd recommend you go and watch that either on YouTube or do the quest in-game. World's first race for the final shape Twitch Rivals emblems, it seems. Watch at least 2 hours of any D2 stream and you'll get this brand new emblem, which looks very interesting. Seems to be the Witness there, pyramids, cool. And then the second emblem here, watch for 15 minutes and get this emblem, which also looks really, really good. So Twitch Rival emblems there. Cool thing there if you're interested. If you want to be a creator to take part in the event, sign-ups can be done there. Cool stuff. More shiny weapons, so they've increased the drop rates of the shiny versions of these weapons, as well as trophies of bravery until the release of the final shape. Good. So if you're lacking on any brave arsenal weapons, go and grab those now. Made a separate video about the updated 2 abilities, so go and watch that video if you haven't done so already. And now we get into the Pathfinder. So Pathfinder is a brand new pursuit system we're introducing in Destiny 2 that consolidates bounties, patrols, and weekly vendor challenges into one streamlined system you can access anytime, anywhere via the directory. Different paths can be accessed from relevant screens of the director by selecting the path node or using a hotkey for quick and easy access to the system. When you open the Pathfinder, you will be presented with 20 objectives divided into 5 tiers, leading to every Guardian's favourite thing, big, shiny loot. To reach said loot, you must complete objectives and claim them from a path from the leftmost tier to the right. While you can progress through all the objectives on Pathfinder without restrictions, you will need to claim at least one objective in each tier before you can claim an objective in the following tier. Every time you claim an objective, you will receive rewards, progressing your path towards the final reward and opening new potential paths. Building a path to a final reward allows you to claim it, and claiming the final reward opens a new opportunity, resetting the path. Resetting your path costs Glimmer, but will also give you a new set of objectives to complete and a new final reward to pursue. These new cards are built using a mixture of Aorfuel control and procedural generation. So once you start resetting, your cards will diverge from those of other Guardians as long as you still have the Glimmer to do so. You can continue to reset Pathfinder cards after claiming the final rewards as many times as you like each week, but the value of the reward will diminish with reset of your card to a point. However, with every weekly reset, the value of the final rewards will also reset. Your objective progress will be lost. Every Guardian will start the week with the same fresh card. So where is Pathfinder? The final shape will launch with 2 Pathfinders, one available to Guardians that replace the bounty systems and weekly challenges for the core ritual activities, and one that will unlock the Pale Heart as part of the expansion's campaign. Ritual Pathfinders provide you a set of objectives that span our ritual activities: Vanguard Strikes, Nightfalls, Onslaught, Gambit, and Crucible. Some of these objectives can be completed in any of these activities, while others require you to dive into a specific ritual or mode. An update later in the year of the final shape will make it even easier to get these ritual screens while you are in their activities, as well as make it easier to access the Ritual Pathfinder. While we don't want to reveal too much about the new destination, you can expect the kind of objectives on the Pale Heart Pathfinder to roughly align with what you would expect to see from destination bounties, with the addition of some new location-based objectives called field assignments. When field assignments are featured on your Pathfinder, you can expect to see them marked directly on the destination map, where you can track them to take advantage of our waypoint system to help navigate to their location. Why is Pathfinder? When we set out to build Pathfinder, we had 4 core goals. First goal was consolidation. Destiny 2 is an enormous game that has evolved constantly over the last decade. Many pursuit systems have been added to the game over time, and these systems are accessed in a myriad of different ways that makes it difficult for Guardians, experienced or not, to understand what they can do at any given point in time. We set out to build one system that has the capability of aligning all these into one cohesive UI and always access from wherever you are. Our second goal was to give players more agency. Bounty systems in Destiny 2 typically let Guardians pick from half of fixed bounties that reset each day and provide repeatable bounties for those who wish to further engage with the system. These limited choices result in a system that feels prescriptive about how you should play instead of putting you in control. We want Guardians to feel ownership over their engagement with these systems, with the ability to chart a course that matches the goals of their play session. With that in mind, our third goal was making decisions matter a bit more. Our existing pursuit systems consist largely of disconnected individual objectives that have no effect on each other. In many cases, a Guardian's decisions regarding these objectives are limited to doing or not doing a particular objective or spending Glimmer to reroll repeatable bounties they don't like. Pathfinder's path-based system incentivizes Guardians to complete objectives that may otherwise be out of their comfort zone to achieve a more direct path to their final reward. It also allows Guardians to forge a more elongated path around objectives that don't call out to them, as their options diminish closer to the final reward. Guardians will be challenged to engage with a particular activity, mode, or playlist to acquire more rewards. Finally, our fourth goal was to reduce barriers because, let's face it, much of our time as Guardians is spent zipping between destinations to prepare to play the game. Flying to the tower, flying to the helm, flying to Europa, it all takes time that we could be spending fending off the witness and thwarting its universe-threatening plan to enact the final shape. Pathfinder, you already have the objectives and they're always progressing as you play. Whether you are locked or unlocked, there's no need to visit a vendor or use the Destiny app to grab bounties. No need to balance your inventory or quests and bounties, and no need to travel to vendors to claim your rewards for a weekly challenge. About Destination Pathfinder, the rewards are assigned to encourage completing many paths over many objectives in each Pathfinder. If you want to maximize your weekly rewards, the best bet is to plan your optimal path. So the rewards include 25 vendor reputation and 4,000 XP, Path completion reward, first path, redacted exotic, powerful tier 3 engram, pale heart gear, rank 1 of vendor reputation and 25,000 XP. Path completion reward, path 2, redacted exotic, pale heart engram, focusable, 375 vendor reputation and 25,000 XP. Path completion rewards 1 through 3 for third path, pale heart engram, focusable, 375 vendor rep and 25,000 XP, and path completion rewards 1 through 3 repeatable, world legendary engram, 150 vendor reputation and 4,000 XP. Objectives category description calibrations directly replace bounties, most common objective category on the Pale Heart Pathfinder. In the Pale Heart, defeat combatants of a certain faction. In the Pale Heart, defeat combatants using weapons that match your subclass type. Field assignments. Players must go to locations in the Pale Heart and complete a custom encounter that only appears while the objective is active. This is the second most common objective category of the Pale Heart Pathfinder. In the Pale Heart, travel to Redacted and claim a reward for defeating Redacted. In the Pale Heart, travel to Redacted and complete the Redacted event. And then finally, ventures, destination-focused activities and objectives. Only 2 per the Pale Heart Pathfinder only appear in the tier before the final reward. And the objective example, in the Pale Heart, progress through the redacted activity and loot the chest. Completing the redacted objective grants additional progress. Now about ritual pathfinders. Now let's talk about ritual activities. Crucible Gambit and Vanguard vendor bounties will be replaced by a unified ritual pathfinder. A single instance of Pathfinder will contain objectives specific to each ritual activity, as well as generic objectives that can be completed in any of the 3 ritual activities. Additionally, on weeks when there is an activity reputation booster, the first 3 instances of Pathfinder will contain more objectives associated to that ritual activity. So if Crucible reputation booster is active, Pathfinder will contain more Crucible specific objectives. Completing an objective node rewards experience like the individual bounty completion. Completing a path is designed to be akin to completing a weekly vendor bounty challenge. Completing rewards include prime engrams, bright dust, and experience. However, where the vendor challenges are limited to 3 per week per character, Pathfinder progress is shared across all characters and is infinitely repeatable. Due to these differences, the rewards amounts have been redistributed accordingly. The first 3 completions, you'll get a prime engram, enhancement prisms, 150 bright dust and 25,000 XP. Next 7 completions, enhancement prism, 150 bright dust and 4,000 XP. Subsequent completions, enhancement cores, 30 bright dust, 4,000 XP. That was a lot about the Pathfinder. Sounds good. Moving on now, we have updating the quest tab. Okay, so starting on June 4th, players will be able to set any quest category on the left column as a default when you enter the quest tab. At the same time, all milestones will now show up on the quest tab, although they will not count against the total amount of quests and bounties that a player can hold in their inventory, and will still be able to hold up to a total of 63. For players who want to keep everything more organized, we have also updated the quest tab so that tracking quests in individual categories will now bring them to the front of your sort order in the quests tab. And last but not least, if you hover over a quest in the quest tab, it will let you know when you can launch it directly from the details screen. So now it's more straightforward to get from checking it to playing it. These changes to the quest tab are not the only quality of life changes we've made to our menus. We've also integrated reputation boosts into the ritual activity node at the top of the director screen. So when you choose an activity throughout an episode, players will get the information at a glance. Okay. Speaking of ritual activities, we also redesigned the private map screen for both Crucible and Gambit. Beans, legendary shards, I've said this before, they're getting removed, so spend them. Pantheon stuff for the week, they added Riven as well as Netherrack, so if you're going into there, good luck with that. And finally here we have Downtime for the Final Shape. Just before the Final Shape launches, Destiny 2 will be brought offline for 24 hours, starting at 9 AM PST on June 3rd. 2024. Check your local time here. Players will be reminded of the downtime in-game and via social media channels before it begins. So reminder, 24-hour downtime, be prepared for that. And that seems to be it. So mainly stuff about Pathfinder, which seems to be awesome. They end off here by saying There's only 12 more days until the final shape, so be sure to have everything you need to be ready. Check that you have the weapon patterns you want. Remember, you can get 1 red border per day to go complete a few more runs of Onslaught, take on the challenge of Pantheon, get that God Slayer title. No teasers for other articles to come, but you can expect other articles to come in the last week before final shape arrives. And yeah, that is it for this video. Quite a long one again. But a lot of good, juicy info there about Pathfinder and exotic armor changes. And with that, that's everything for today. If you've enjoyed as always, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.